Let's do this. Sweet, just what I needed. I don't know. There we go. What does I think I needed vines? Hmm. Huh. Who knew? What's down here? Oh, hello there. So did I just hear lava? Nope. Over here? Hmm. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Hi. How's it going? There's nothing here. I was looking for some of those vines, but I don't see any. Oh. Oh yeah, you got a shovel, do you? I've been better. It's not that bad though. Oh, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Actually, I could use that. Not at the moment, no. I'd have to go get it. Unfortunately. Oh man, my arm is fucking killing me though. Holy shit. It's so bad. It's way worse than the first one. It was much worse earlier in the day, so I don't feel as bad as I did earlier. I'll be fine. Trying to figure out a good spot to put this. No, these can only go on mossy blocks, right? Oh no, they can go on any block. Okay. Well then. Just no. No, I'm not allowed to be sick. What? What? Whatever. I can't go on sand. Apparently. Can you put them on top of each other? No, that'd be cool. That makes sense though. I've already been terraforming some of this, so there's a few things that are different since the last time I streamed. Get in the freaking door. There we go. Yeah, earlier I was way worse. I was like super dizzy and stuff. At work, it was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. I can't even. Surprised I stayed at work the whole night, honestly. Hello, Tess. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Apparently, yeah, I guess so. Not your fault. Don't worry about that. I honestly didn't think I was gonna feel much from it because the first time I didn't get much, but oh, it was way worse. That looks cool, I think. I'm okay though. I'm not really feeling that bad, honestly. It's really not that bad. It's just kind of like when you have like a head cold and like you know how your entire body is just kind of like eh. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of feeling it is. It definitely is not the most fun feeling, no. Like, it's not bad. Like, I'm not, like, you know, like, dying or anything. It's just, like, a meh. Like, I mean, I'd rather not feel like this. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna do these stone steps and stuff first. This is just gonna be a slight thing. A little build somewhere. Yeah, exactly. It's like, ugh. I don't know. Thank you. I try. Oops, the axolotls are getting killed. Oh, I do have some more, just not mossy ones. Okay. There, now I need buckets. Or do I have buckets? I have a bucket. Uh-huh. Ah! This is the shitty thing about doing blocks like this that aren't full blocks. You gotta like fill in the water spaces. Can't wait to go to work tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. Hopefully I feel a little bit better about it tomorrow morning. At least a little. I just feel like I probably wouldn't be able to sleep or whatever, even if I tried to go to bed early or something. So I was like, I'll just play a game because it'll keep my mind out of it. You know? 1 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So, like, same amount of time, just, you know, get off earlier in the night, which is nice. Yeah, I know. That's the worst part about those shifts is that it's, like, literally the entire freaking day, you know? See, why can't it flow down and fill all those water spaces? Oh, man. So much muscle pain. It's like, oh, not fun. Oh, there's some right here. Good. There we go. That looks nice. Like a little bit of ruins, you know. I got all this covered in netherrack because there's like a little nether area, right? I need more leaves for that tree. Oh, and over here I got something I'm gonna do really cool. I'm gonna do like some cute stuff. There's like a cave here that I made. And if you go in here and go up, it's like a little area. I'm gonna put like some cool stuff here. Maybe like some mob heads or something might be cool. And all this is gonna be moss blocks when I get some bone meal, which I actually have right now. Okay then. There we go. See, that's nice. Yeah, Enderman can't spawn there because it's it's only 2 blocks high. Yeah, I don't have any Tylenol though. Ibuprofen's the only thing that was here. Oh, fuck. Definitely feel it when I move. Also, I did this little skeleton here. And I covered a lot of this in sand and dirt, so it would be a little bit more themed on each side, basically. Yeah, it looks good. I like it so far. I don't want everything to be the same thing. I want it to be, you know, like a mix of the two. So you can see all the different colors and whatnot, you know. I mean, like some things that like used to be buildings but aren't anymore, too, you know. Like we're gonna need a few more blocks, though, that being said. See, I don't even want to put these steps here because it's like, well, they filled in. I got a shit ton of sand too, just so I can get rid of some stuff. I even put like a broken little minecart thing here, which is kind of cool. Okay. What's this gravel? Okay. Okay. I need to heal this a little bit. No. Okay. Alright, I got the jack-o'-lanterns too. I was gonna put those probably over in like the grassy area more. Where there's no light here. Yeah. As he's stuck in there. I see. I'm going to place this here somewhere. I'd like to get more of these blocks too, to fill in around the tree more. I probably won't do that tonight, but, you know. Okay, put that up there, not up there. Whoops. Okay. It looks really good from above, which obviously is the goal. See what I mean? How like the sand is more white over there. So it's looking cool. But the problem is I gotta do this with the entire space really. So it's gonna take a long time. But once this thing is done, it's gonna look so cool. It doesn't even look like it's underwater with how clear the water is. So over here I'm gonna do the rest of this in sand, just an idea. Might have to remove some blocks, but certain blocks I probably won't. I'll just take them down. Not too worried about the amethyst because I can get more. It's not like it's rare. It's just gonna break when I break the block under it. Yes. That answers that question. Nothing like placing sand. Alright, I got that bone meal too. I should use that. That way I'll have more inventory space. Whabam. Whabam. Okay. I want that lantern. Yeah. Give me that. Dead air. Ah, man. Actually sucks to move now. I don't need to get rid of the blocks under it because you won't be able to see them anyway. Well, oops. So what's new? Anything? Did I have... Okay, I didn't. um... Yeah. Did you see the new Spider-Man trailer? It's like the first comic book movie I might actually be excited for. And you know how that goes, because I hate comic book movies lately. That's like actually saying something. You've definitely seen it because you love comic book movies. Well, what did you think? I heard about the premise of it, and I was like pretty pumped about it. So the fact that the trailer came out was pretty cool. See, I'm a loser, and I actually like the original trilogy. Well, the third one is meh. It's not that bad as everyone says it is, but... It's such a good idea. Especially where like the two companies are always arguing over who owns what, you know? Just makes sense. Because a lot of people hate those now. It's almost like it's cool to hate those movies now. And I think that's fucking stupid because they're good movies. People be hating on Sam Raimi movies? I don't think so. I'm gonna leave this here. This is gonna be still end stone. I do want to like break a few blocks here and there though, just to show that it's like blending. Because remember, the whole idea of this is that it's not entirely taking over the end. It's just like the overworld and another like seeping through into here. Like Spider-Man 2, it's probably one of my favorite comic book movies in general, honestly. looks nice. Fucking kelp. I don't want this kelp. Where, my question is, did those sea pickles go that I broke? Are they also above? Or did they despawn? That's also possible. I didn't pick them up, did I? I don't think I did. They were like right here somewhere, right? I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I don't see them though. Whatever. I'm over it. Okay, we're gonna just try to we're gonna meld it here a bit. Oh, almost broke bones. That's no good. That looks good. Maybe some over here too. I don't know if I asked you this before. What's your favorite comic book movie? I probably did ask you that though. Honestly. It seems like a pretty obvious question to ask. It's a good one. It's definitely a good one. Oh, excuse me. Fuck. There we go. Just trying to add a little bit of character to everything, you know? I think my favorite comic book movie is probably such a hard thing to answer. There's so many. I don't see, I'm not into like the Marvel universe as much as everybody else is. I don't know. I get that they're probably more accurate to the comics, but I don't know. They get kind of cheesy. The jokes in them are kind of cheesy sometimes. Watch me name something that's super cheesy now. um, yeah, Batman Begins. I really do like Batman Returns a lot. I feel like I feel like if I answer, I'm trying to answer it right? Because I feel like I'm gonna forget something like super important to me, like something really obvious. Well, I know for a fact, and I've said this before, that Dick Tracy is one of my favorite comic book movies. Um, it's underrated. Nobody talks about it anymore. That's what I never ever get about it. It never gets brought up in conversation like at all. It's a really good movie. It ain't perfect. I mean, it's an older comic book movie. Generally, I don't think that they had figured out the formula to making a really good comic book movie at that time. So they all kind of had. It was almost like they didn't figure out how to make it more like a comic book, but in real life. Like they almost like they tried to adapt the comics um style to like movie format, which I think a lot of the time doesn't work. But with that movie, I think it did because some of like the backdrops in Dick Tracy and um like the matte paintings they have for like the city when they do like these wide shots in that movie, they look amazing. The makeup effects obviously is amazing too. Amazing cast. I mean, like if you look at the actors that were in that movie, I don't think people realize how many good actors were in that movie. Al Pacino, um, Dustin Hoffman, Warren Beatty, Madonna. I know there's more really good actors that are in. I just can't think of them right now. Great cast in that movie. I think Al Pacino got nominated for an award in that movie too. I don't know if he won or not. I don't remember. I feel like he probably did. I remember watching the cartoons when I was a kid. It's so worth it. It holds up in my opinion. I mean, you might notice some of the more cheesy the soundtrack in that. That's another thing I never even thought about. The soundtrack in that movie is amazing. So good. In fact, a lot of the songs that are in that movie you literally can't find anywhere. Like they might have had like one or two releases of it, but like yeah, it never came back out after. Which sucks because a lot of the music in that is really good. I know like you can find like the Madonna soundtrack, but like I mean but they weren't really in the movie for more or less. A few of the songs were, but most of them weren't. It was more just like inspired by the movie type of deal. But like some of the songs that were actually written for that movie that were like they sound like that era that the movie takes place in. So good. So well done. There we go. Kind of melts in a little bit more. Oh man, I have so much endstone now, I don't need it. Let's go dump some of this shit off here. Yeah. So yeah, probably Dick Tracy is probably my favorite. I'm not just saying that to be different or anything. I actually really do like that movie a lot. Like, I mean, I still have the figurines from it, and I have the laser disc of it, and I have DVD, and I have the Blu-ray of it, and I don't have my VHS anymore. If I ever see it around, I'm gonna buy it. I regret selling a lot of my VHS tapes because some of them are really hard to find now. Like I said, how I'm trying to find like the Mario Brothers movie, and it's like fucking impossible to find nowadays. It just like doesn't exist. Sucks. I remember selling all of them for basically nothing too. That's the funny thing. um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Pretty sure. Wait, where am I? I just like went over here and forgot where I am. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was that. I feel like people remember them being worse quality than they actually are. They're not bad quality. They're only really bad quality after you watch the same tape like a lot, and like the copy degrades or whatever, or you don't take care of them. I mean, obviously they're not high definition, but you know what I mean. People always like seem to remember like them skipping and having lines through them and stuff, and I'm like, that's not like no, that's not how that that's not how that was. Honestly, like I don't buy them because like like I'm literally like a nerd and I just want to have a stupid format that nobody watches. Like the reason I like them. I mean, it's partly nostalgia because I like having the tapes like around because it like reminds me of like rental stores and stuff like that. But at the same time, um, it's a lot cheaper to get some of the movies on that. Like I mean, like I can go to like a thrift store and get like a movie I like to watch for like like 25 cents a tape rather than spending say like $30 or $40 on like a Blu-ray or. But I mean, then also you got streaming services too. But I don't really have. I'm not really. um, I'm not really subscribed to a lot of streaming services because I think like my main problem monetary wise is like my credit card and stuff. So like if I got that stuff, then there's literally money coming out like every month that like it's hard to keep track of when you have so many things coming out of a credit card or something. So like I just don't have that many streaming services. It's just not something that I like personally. Like I have Netflix. I'm surprised I don't have Amazon Prime, honestly. Eventually. That looks good, I think. Do I want to go around and connect this? I think it's worth it. Again, I'm not really like shitting on anybody that likes any of that stuff, but you know, it's just not for me. Cause like I get it, like you like watching things in HD and stuff like that, definition. But like a lot of times, I know this sounds really stupid, but I don't know how many times an old movie that I really love has been almost ruined for me because of high definition. And I don't mean that like in, you know, like high def sucks in every occasion, but I just think with older movies, it doesn't necessarily make them better. Like it kind of ruined Ghostbusters for me actually because there's like a scene in Ghostbusters where like the terror dog is chasing Louis Tully like out of his apartment or whatever. And because they did that effect of the terror dog or whatever with like I don't even know what that's called. It's like the thing where they're like, it's like an effect and it's like a frame and they put it over the frame to animate it because obviously they were stop motion in that movie. So they do that over every frame. But you can actually see the square cut out of like where they put it into the frame in the high definition version, like on Blu-ray and on streaming services. And it like, I don't know. It like ruined it for me, which sucks because that's literally like my favorite movie, like period ever. That looks nice. Yeah, and that's also a thing of like laziness in my opinion too, because is there some way that they could edit that out even with like CG or something, you know what I mean? Not even CG, but like they could totally shop that out, like the corners. They could easily round that on each frame probably in some program, I'm sure. Kind of stupid that they didn't. Because otherwise, the effects in that movie are really good. I think they were done by Industrial Light and Magic, right? Like Star Wars and stuff. Most movies back then were. But yeah, that kind of ruined that movie for me. Well, obviously not ruined it for me because I fucking still love that movie to death, but like it kind of changed. It takes me out of the movie. So now even when I go back and watch it on VHS, like I'll always remember seeing that, you know what I mean? So it like kind of did ruin it to a point for me, which kind of sucks. Which is why there's a lot of other movies on Blu-ray that I didn't bother to even go back and look at, like Back to the Future or anything. I didn't bother because I didn't want to have something like that happen. Sucks. Anyways, I was talking about comic book movies and I got all fucking sidetracked on this stuff. But yeah, so that's uh that's why I like older formats. Technically Laserdisc can be like high definition too, right? Like the big ones that I have. so like vinyl record size. And a lot of times when they like take a movie that's up-res, they'll like, or if it doesn't get up-res officially, fans will use like a laserdisc version to like up-res it and stuff. Like they did that with Star Wars pretty much. Because the original cut of Star Wars has never been re-released really, right? Without any of the added effects that they did later. Which sucks. So really, like, your only option to watch it is to literally just watch it on, like, the original VHS releases or something. Trilogy? I gotta, like, look. Ugh. Gotta be careful what I say, because a lot of time now, like, the trilogies are turning to 4 quadrilogies lately, because of all the stupid sequels. Back to the Future, 100%. I think it's gotta be Back to the Future. All the Back to the Future movies are good. And I don't have a complaint about any of them. The worst one out of the 3 is the second one. But it's not worst as in like it's a horrible fucking movie. Like say Indiana Jones where the Temple of Doom is like a meh. Like it seems in trilogies there's always the one movie that's really like a fucking like the odd stepchild movie, you know what I mean? But Back to the Future don't really have that. It's just the second movie isn't as good as the first or third movie because I don't know how much you know about those movies, but like Back to the Future 2 and 3 were filmed at the exact same time in 2 different locations. So Michael J. Fox used to have to fly from one location to the other location to shoot his scenes on both movies, basically. So kind of they put more effort because the original director of the first movie and the producer were both on the set of the third movie. So the second movie kind of got put to the side, which is why it came out not as good, I guess, you know? Didn't have the same, yeah. So basically, the director and the producer and anybody who had any real input into the movies and like their themes and stuff were on the set of the third one while they were filming the second one at the same time. So the second one was like a B team, I guess, and it kind of suffered for that. Because I mean, really, when you think about Back to the Future 2, what are the only scenes you remember in that movie? The future part, right? But that part of the movie only lasts for like maybe 20 minutes or so. Like it's not a long part of the running time. A lot of the running time is back in 1955 when they have to go back and back to the 80s when they have to go back and fix the timeline, right? The future part of it in that movie doesn't really take up a long part of the runtime. I feel like I should fix this here too. But yeah, Back to the Future definitely. I often have the thing where I don't know if I like the first Back to the Future movie or the third one better. I think when you were a kid and you watched Back to the Future, the first movie was probably better. And you probably thought the second movie was way cooler because of the futuristic stuff. But story-wise and writing and everything, the third movie is probably honestly the best one. I think so. Because when you're a kid, you didn't give a shit about Doc falling in love with some girl in the Wild West, like you know what I mean? Like that, you didn't give a fuck about that shit. You wanted to see the flying cars and shit, and like the Nike self-lacing shoes and the hoverboard. You know what I mean? You didn't care about that. The only scene that you really liked in the third movie for a lot of people was probably when they were traveling back to 1985 by using the train or whatever. First movie is a phenomenal movie, though. It's probably one of the most well-written movies, like, ever. Honestly. Like, I know a friend who went through, like, a film school. I'm not sure which film school it was, but I know that they were using it as, like, a studying part because the script for Back to the Future is so good. I could tell you a million random facts about those movies, too, if you're into that. um, did you know that Michael J. Fox wasn't the original well, he was the original actor they wanted for Back to the Future, but he couldn't do it because he was doing the Family Ties, the TV show that he was on back in the day. He was filming Family Ties, basically, or whatever it is, or is it Family Matters? I don't know. I always get those two mixed up, even though they're completely different shows. Just the name. Um, and they wanted him, but he couldn't do it because he was filming on that movie, and he'd be too tired or whatever, and also the studio wouldn't let him do that. So basically, they found another actor. I forget what his name is. He was also a good actor. Um, but anyways, yeah, they found another actor to play, and they went through like I don't know the exact percentage. I want to say like 60% of the movie they went through and did scenes with this other actor, and it just wasn't working at all. Like there was no chemistry. Like he's a brilliant actor. He just didn't have the chemistry for that character. So, um, they got in contact with Michael J. Fox and that studio that ran the TV show, and they basically worked something out so that he'd film Family Ties during the day, and in the nighttime he'd go and do his Back to the Future shoot. So he was literally there were people apparently that used to come from the set of Back to the Future that would pick him up while he was asleep on the ride or the plane to the set, and they'd literally have to just like carry him there because he'd be so tired all the time. Crazy, right? Like we're lucky we got that movie the way we got it, you know? I mean, that's definitely the movie that he's the most known for, right? And then like Teen Wolf. Although he's really good in a lot of movies. He was good in The Frighteners. That was a good movie. I like that movie. Underrated. Okay, let's have a look at this now. See how far we are here. There we go. Oh, it looks so much better. So nice seeing like the different colors come out. Thinking I might go all the way around this. Even under this, maybe. Oh, God. Getting rid of a lot of this kelp, too. Which I don't mind a bit of it, but I definitely placed way too much. Just say do that. I'm trying to make it like sort of rounded, you know? I'm trying to think of other stuff I know about Back to the Future that was interesting. There's a lot of stuff with movies like that. Like even with Ghostbusters, there's a lot of interesting facts. Like they didn't know if Bill Murray was even going to show up for that movie. So I think it was like something where he wasn't like entirely super interested in it. So like, thankfully, because she's like one of the best parts about those movies, obviously. Oh, another random fact about Ghostbusters that I know you'll enjoy. Um, do you know how Sigourney Weaver got the part of Dana Barrett? Did you ever hear that story? It's actually hilarious. Made me gain so much respect for her. Like so much more respect. She's already an amazing actor. So she was reading the script or whatever she had to do to, you know, to audition for the part or whatever. And you know how like in the movie she turns into one of the terror dogs or whatever, Zool. Um, apparently she got in the audition room and she literally just got down on all fours and started like barking like a dog and like jumping on the desk and shit like that. And that's how she got the part. Which is funny as fuck. And I can't picture that movie without her. Right? Like what the fuck? Oh god, I need to fix my other pickaxe. This one is brutal. Right? Oof, oof. I think I told you before that the part of Lewis Tully or whatever that Rick Moranis plays um was actually made for or it was one of the parts that was supposed to go to John Candy. Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So was supposed to go to John Candy, but he insisted on playing Lewis Tully as like a strange German man with like a weird accent and stuff like that. Obviously, so like they were just like no, and so they got Rick Moranis to do the character. And also, John Belushi was supposed to be in Ghostbusters, but he died. So Slimer was basically. I mean, people say it was modeled after him, but it wasn't really modeled after him. It was just it was more like inspired by his character in Animal House to a point, you know, like because it's like a slob that likes to eat, right? Okay, we're here, and then we'll go one more maybe, and then back down again. Oops. It's funny because your favorite comic book movie only got made because of the internet. If it wasn't for like internet and like the fans, Deadpool would have never been made. Really, it's funny to think about that. I remember seeing like they basically had this like CG thing with Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool. Of like the scene from the first movie where he's like on the overpass, like sitting down, dangling his legs, and he's listening to like a song on like a little radio or something. But they basically had that all done in like full CG, and they were like shopping that around to like different movie studios to get the movie going, and none of the studios were interested in it because they said no one would want to see like an R-rated comic book movie. But because it someone who I don't think they've ever said who, but I mean it might be kind of obvious, leaked that video onto the internet, and people freaked out over it so much that the movie studio decided to make the movie after, on a smaller budget, and that's how Deadpool became a thing. Thankfully, because that is a very good movie. Second one is eh. Might actually be better if I like connected this here. I don't know. I don't know if he does it all the time, but yeah, he has like other comic book heroes like slash villains on like the show, and they're like just like reacting to fucking movie trailers and shit. It's kind of funny. That dude was born to play that character. I can't picture anybody else playing Deadpool now. Funny how actors do that. Like I don't know if they'd ever be able to replace Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. That's just him. He is Iron Man. Like, I mean, that being said, I didn't think anybody would be able to do the Joker as well as Jack Nicholson did, but not that he did it as well or better, but like Heath Ledger definitely did a really fucking sick job on doing the character his own way. I did, yeah. It was it was something. I did. I don't know that I would call it a masterpiece. A lot of people were talking about how it was like one of the best comic book movies ever, but I didn't really think it was that good. It was okay. It was its own thing, which I appreciate. I'm not into like the super serious comic book movie shit. Like I don't mind it, but like I don't like those movies as much. I don't know. They have their place, and I know plenty of people like them, and that's fine. You know, I don't care. I'm not gonna stop no one from liking them. You like what you like. I don't think it was so much over the top as it was like you almost want to look at it like it's not a comic book movie. Like it almost came across as more of an art film than an actual comic book movie because it had a lot of commentary and stuff. You know, like I feel like that was more the thing with it. Not an art film. How do I explain that? Like it's a better movie if you don't think about it as the Joker, like Batman's Joker. Like if you just think of it as like a story about a dude or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it was more self-contained. It doesn't seem like it needs the the rest of the Batman universe to be, you know, like you could have wrote it about some dude that had a similar story or whatever, that he was just a stand-up comedian that couldn't make it and no one liked him and whatnot, and so he went crazy. It didn't necessarily need to be about the Joker. It was a good movie. It was a good self-contained movie. I don't really consider it a comic book movie. Like I can't see that Joker interacting with any of the Batmans that have existed, even Christian Bale's. Now we'll see because the new Batman movie's coming out soonish, so we'll see then, I guess, because what's his name, Robert Pattinson or whatever. He's playing Batman now. Did you know that? If you know who that is, I feel like I don't want to see another Batman movie. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just like sick of Batman now because there's just been so many Batman movies. I'd kill to see Michael Keaton be Batman one more time. Right. Gets memed so hard. Or it used to. Stand in the middle. Like, I missed the Tim Burton universe on it. Like, it wasn't super accurate to the comics at all, but I just like the way that was. It sucks that we didn't get the third Batman movie in the Tim Burton thing. And that Tim Burton just gave up after the second one because the studio wanted him to do too many things. Because if you think about the actors that were in Batman Returns in the first Batman movie that were set up to be characters in like the third movie but never came to be, fucking sucks, dude. Like Billy D. Williams or whatever his name is was supposed to be guy that plays Lando in Star Wars. He was Harvey Dent in the second, first or second movie. He's in one of them as Harvey Dent, which means he would have ended up being Two-Face, which would have been very interesting. I know that he came back to voice act Two-Face in, I think, the Lego Batman movie. But, like, I'd like to see him in, like, full makeup. That would be cool. What else? It would have been cool to see Robin the way that Tim Burton wanted it. Because he had Marlon Wayans, or whatever his name is, to be Robin. Like, you know, the guy from Scary Movie and White Chicks. The one that's always high. He was going to be Robin in the third movie. And he had been cast so long and signed on a contract to be in that movie so long that when they replaced him with a different actor, they still had to pay him for that. Hang on, I'll be right back. Gotta go pee. Back. Now I feel like there's not enough kelp in certain areas, but there's more in other areas. Maybe I'll just place a couple around. Like, I want it to, like, actually look right, you know? It's just not too much of it. Because I feel like it was, like, kind of overrunning everything before. Like, I'll place these 27 that I'm holding, and that's it. There we go. Maybe place some on the actual bones themselves, too. There we go. It's more over here. I don't have any in these sandy areas, basically. Yeah, that'd be a little bit better. Where was I to? What was I talking about? Oh, the Batman movie casting. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff with those movies. That's another thing, like, over the years, that people like to kind of throw those movies under the bus, and I don't get it. Like, they're not bad movies. They might not be everyone's cup of tea, I get that. But, like, they're not bad movies, you know? It always bothers me with like stuff like that. Like time passes on movies, and then people are like, "Oh no, that movie's not as good." Like in like in like 10, 15 years, is everybody going to be talking about how like the Dark Knight movies were not good? You know what I mean? Or were not as good as everyone thought they were? Maybe not, but I feel like a lot of movies get that, especially if they have like a really different style from everything else. They always get this like thing where people act like they were bad or something, and I'm like, nah, man, they're not bad though. What are you talking about? Hate that shit. Not to mention people just kind of, follow the trends of what people like and whatnot. Don't actually form an opinion of their own about if they like something. Just becomes a cool, trendy thing to hate on certain movies. Unfortunately. I mean, there's certain movies you just can't do that, though. It's just, certain movies are just too good. It's kind of like a lot of people hate Ghostbusters too, but like I don't understand. It doesn't really bring a whole lot new. I get that, but it's not a bad movie. It's basically the same plot as the first movie, just again. You know what I mean? They didn't do anything um new, which I guess is its fault. I'm trying to think of like another movie that's like a movie that people just act like is bad now, even though it wasn't necessarily bad at one time. It kind of works the opposite way sometimes too, where you got like movies that just get a cult following over the years that aren't necessarily good movies or weren't well received at the time, but now everybody loves them. The Room. Yeah, but The Room was almost, I don't want to say famous since it came out. There was a few reviewers that reviewed it at the time, and that's where it gained its following. That wasn't like a movie that unanimously everybody was like, this is trash for years, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's kind of good because it's so bad it's good. I'm trying to think of a movie that's like that. There's a few. I think a movie like Escape from LA is a trash ass movie, but like it's enjoyable to watch because it's so trash. If you've ever seen Escape from New York or Escape from LA, Escape from New York is a genuinely decent movie. The second one is like, not good. What happens if I put a door here? Would it just be floating? Yes, answers that question. I mean, there's a lot of movies over the years that a lot of people don't talk about anymore that were like considered classics at one time. Like, I don't ever hear anyone talk about like Poltergeist. That was considered a classic. I think I'll go fishing now. I think it's fishing time, is it? Fish for like 15 minutes and then we'll end the stream. I gotta fix this too and see what this looks like. Probably the same. You do? That's good. Why is that? Oh, that's a trident. I was like, what is that orange dot? Yeah, that's true. But The Exorcist has been. That's one of those movies that gets. That's been. Well, I guess Poltergeist kind of same thing. Where they got parodied for like specific scenes so much that like it almost became. Yeah. The Shining is such a good movie. Doctor Sleep was really good too, though. Really good. I think you said you've seen that one. That was an extremely good movie. One of the better sequels to come out later on. Like, usually when sequels come out like 30, 40 years later from a movie, it's just trash. It just doesn't add up at all. And the only few I can think of is Doctor Sleep, um, Psycho 2, and I just had another one in mind. I forgot what it was. Oh, Blade Runner 2049. It's a better movie than the first one. It just is. I'm sorry to anyone who likes Blade Runner. It's like I love Blade Runner too, but um, Blade Runner drags if you go back and watch it. It's such a slow moving movie. It's a good movie, and the effects are some of the best of that era. But that movie fucking drags. Oh, here's a movie that people fucking unanimously did not like when it came out, or liked for a little bit when it came out, but eventually hated, but now like again. And that's the fucking like Star Wars Episode 1. I remember seeing that in theaters because I remember how much advertising was on the go for that movie when that movie was coming out. It was like KFC, Taco Bell, and whatever those chains. They all had all the toys. I remember Lay's and Doritos and stuff had like these little like 3D plastic thingies and like tattoos and stuff in the bags. And I remember there was like a contest with like Pepsi or something where like under the cap you could win like stuff. That like advertising for Star Wars Episode 1 was fucking everywhere. And then the movie came out and everybody was like, eh. And nowadays people like to say that Episode 1 isn't as bad as everybody thought it was, but no, that movie really is that bad. It's not the worst movie ever. Like it's watchable. More watchable than the second one. But yeah, don't hold up. The best of the prequel trilogy is the third one, in my opinion. And I don't like the sequel trilogy, like the newer ones. There wasn't a single one that I was like, meh. Because Force Awakens was like a reboot of the first movie, almost just with different characters. So it was like, okay, it's good, but like, you know. And then the Last Jedi was the second one, and that one was like fucking trash. That movie sucked. I hated that movie. Oh my god. It was so weird. There were so many weird choices in that movie. And then the third one was a mess. It was like they tried to please the people who liked the first and the second one, and then tried to like wrap up all these random storylines. It was so bad. I hated it. I like the Star Wars like side story movies a lot more. Like Rogue One was a really good movie. I like that. Solo wasn't bad. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. It had a cool story. It was, something to tell. I feel like telling Han Solo's backstory kind of ruins the character a little bit, though, because he's kind of supposed to be mysterious, the mysterious cowboy type character. But yeah, there were so many Star Wars movies for a while there that I just got sick of Star Wars. Like I can't even like look at any of it anymore. I don't even think I could watch the original trilogy anymore. I'd probably just get like I watched them maybe 2 years ago, maybe. Might be less than that. But they're not the same to me now. It's like weird now. It's like almost like it's just I don't say it's ruined for me. It's not really ruined. You can't let things like that ruin other movies in a series because they're still amazing movies. It's just I can't watch them anymore. I can't. I just got so oversaturated that I was like, eh. And that was around the time like I remember when those Star Wars movies were coming out. It was like comic book movie, like next month Star Wars movie, comic book movie, Star Wars movie, comic book movie, Star Wars movie, and I was just like, man, like I don't care. I don't care. It's so oversaturated with just blockbuster crap, you know? It's nice to see a movie every now and then that's like well directed, well acted, well written. Not a popcorn flick, like a movie that legitimately makes you think about things, you know? Or actually has suspense. Which is what Doctor Sleep was to me. That movie was really fucking good. There's a few other movies here and there I can't think of off the top of my head though that I've seen that I was like, it's a good movie. I don't think I said I'm sick of comic book movies or Star Wars movies. Just I'm sick of like huge blockbuster movies. And unless it's something that I'm really interested in, I'm probably not gonna go see it. You know what I mean? Like I will go see that Spider-Man movie because it'll be cool to see all three Spider-Mans in one movie together, as well as the villains. Because in that trailer they had Doc Ock from the original trilogy, and they had one of the Green Goblin bombs from the original trilogy. So I'm assuming that means Willem Dafoe is going to come back as the Green Goblin, which is going to be fucking awesome because Willem Dafoe is an amazing actor. Oh, that's cool. We just have our mall with like one IMAX and that's it. I'm glad the whole like 3D movies thing fucking faded out. Fuck that shit. That was getting so annoying. I would literally just go see movies without the 3D because I feel like half the time it just kind of ruined it. It's too distracting in some movies, and a lot of movies it was just like just hand fisted into the fucking movie by a studio when the movie clearly didn't need to have that. I'm trying to think of some other big movies that were really good when they came out that I actually like a lot. Mad Max Fury Road was a really good movie. That was surprisingly good. I seen that on the plane to Edmonton when I went to see Primus. And I remember thinking, man, this movie is fucking like so good. Like, holy shit. There's a black and white version of it too that's really good because it was meant to be black and white at some point. I'd like to see it like that just to see what it's like because that movie is very big on contrast and colors. So I'd like to see what that looks like in black and white. I think they have it called the Black and Chrome edition. I'm looking forward to the sequel to Venom. I know a lot of people didn't like the Venom movie, but I did. It's not super accurate to the character, but I like it. It was also cool to see it in like a self-contained, its own universe type thing. I don't know if they're planning on bringing that into the Spider-Man thing eventually, but I'm assuming they might, because if they're bringing the other Spider-Man into the one movie, then that means that Sony is willing to do crossovers, so they might do that. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the Chucky TV series and the new Ghostbusters movie. It looks really good. I'll go see that definitely. I mean, most times I don't even go to see movies in theaters. Like, I really don't. I know it sounds horrible because a lot of people love going to the movie theaters, but I really don't. I really just never. I don't really enjoy it. I don't know if that's because there's lack of a movie for me to see in theater that I really like to see on a big screen. There's certain movies that you really need to. Like, I feel like if I had seen Mad Max in theaters, I probably would have liked it even more than I already like it, because seeing it on the plane obviously is not as good on a little tiny screen. But like, I feel like that would have been a really good theater movie. There's certain movies that are really good for that, which is why I went to see the original Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 in theaters when I had a chance. When they like were putting it in theaters again here, it was really nice to see that on a big screen. It definitely made it better to a certain degree. It was a different experience, not better. A lot of old movies, I like ones from before my time or just when I was like young. Um, I've went and seen in theaters because I'd like to see them on a big screen. I'd love to see Dick Tracy in theaters. Trying to think of like the biggest movie I've seen when I was the biggest movie I've ever seen in theaters, even when I was young. What year did Jurassic Park come out? It came out in '93, right? I feel like I've seen Jurassic Park in theaters, even though it was only three. I know I seen the second one, obviously, because that was like '97. I remember going to see Batman Forever and Batman and Robin in theaters, unfortunately. Oh, you can do that here. It depends though, because they don't have all the reels and stuff here, right? For certain ones, because it's not entirely digital either for certain movies. I've seen Halloween in theaters, like the original. That was cool. Psycho will be really cool to see in theaters. But I think theaters are um not long for this world anyways, honestly. There's not a whole lot of people that like going out to theaters to see movies. I mean, if you can just get it at home and stream it, like most people just don't care anymore. Well, go see a movie. Yeah, that'd be fun. Sounds good. Our own private showing of The Room. No, fuck that. I can't watch that movie anymore. It's been done to death. Fire Aspect, Piercing for Depth Strider. That's a good book. That is also a good book. Not the books I'm looking for, though, unfortunately. Bruh. I've seen 8 Mile in theaters. That was cool. Not really a big movie thing, but that's one of those movies where I remember what I was thinking and where I was and stuff when it came out. Some movies, you know how you can just like remember your entire mindset from that exact time, like everything about your life. Just looking at my movies, I wouldn't mind seeing the original Mortal Kombat in theaters. Or Blues Brothers. I've seen that in theaters before, though. I went with my friend, one of my best friends. Yeah. I seen Super 8 in theaters when it came out. I remember being pumped to go see that. I've seen all the Kill Bill movies in theater. Um, I feel like Pulp Fiction might be good in theater, maybe. I don't know, though. I'm not the biggest... Uh, hate saying this shit on live stream because I know people love that movie. I'm not the hugest fan of it. I'm not like obsessed with Quentin Tarantino movies, but his movies are good. He's a great director. Certain movies of his I love, and then other movies of his I'm just like, I don't know. Pulp Fiction is another one of those movies too, where you remember like a few scenes from the movie and you don't really remember the rest of the movie, or most people don't. I know a movie that's not a blockbuster I'd like to see in theaters for no apparent reason. The Big Lebowski. I'd love to see that in theater. That's up there on my favorite movie list. It's definitely top 10. Such a stupid movie, but I love it. The dude abides. So many good quotes in that movie. Nice Marmot. He just wanted to have his rug replaced, that's all. Someone pissed on his rug. It's fucked up, you know? It's such a weird movie. It's like, it seems like a pretty normal movie when you first start watching it. Like, it's like, okay, it's about this dude. Literally. And then, like, as it goes on, it just turns into, like, this trippy fucking, like, acid trip movie. And it's like, whoa, like, what the fuck? What happened? The thing where they're spreading the ashes of their friend or whatever, and it blows back in their face. So good. Love shit like that. Just a stupid humor that's really, like, unexpected. I really need to go back and rewatch a lot of John Candy's movies. I haven't seen a lot of his movies in a long time. Uncle Buck, um, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, good movie. It's also up there in one of my favorite movies ever. Remember that movie Due Date that came out that had like Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, and it was a complete ripoff of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It was like the exact same premise. Like, dude gets stranded, has to find his way back home to his family, and he's a businessman that doesn't have time for family, and he meets annoying fat guy that, you know what I mean? It was like the same premise, different characters to a point, but like, it was the exact same movie. I mean, it even had a scene where like he falls asleep while driving and listening to like certain music. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like had a lot of the same jokes and everything. Stripes is a good movie. I love Stripes. Underrated. That's a movie people don't talk about very much anymore. Stripes. When you're talking about like Bill Murray movies, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and John Candy, they're so good in that movie. It's so funny. Did I lose any stuff down there when I was like? I never lost a book or nothing, did I? I just like some shitty fishing rods. I'm breaking 3. Infinity, infinity, and beyond. Don't want this. There's so many pufferfish. I don't need them. There's a few actors that I really like that like I'd like to see go through a lot of their catalog again because I haven't seen them in so long. You know, John Candy's got a lot of good movies. Spaceballs, it's a classic. Mel Brooks movies, they're all good. Blazing Saddles. Yeah, Mel Brooks has an amazing sense of humor. Although a lot of people find it offensive nowadays, a lot of his movies don't. The jokes don't hold up for some people because there's a lot of like Jewish German jokes. But I mean, the dude's Jewish, just like he's poking fun at, you know. I think the dude was a comedy genius, one of the best ever. It's like how a lot of people like Monty Python was super popular for a really long time, and then a lot of people nowadays just find it too offensive because there's too many like World War II jokes and stuff that people just can't handle nowadays. Like it's a joke, guys. They're making fun of them. You know, people just can't tell the difference between jokes nowadays. I don't even think it's just that. I think people just like to find things to complain about to a point. You know, like, ooh, that's good. That's a good book. I feel like there's like, yeah, there's certain things that just you just can't talk about anymore. It's just like it's not funny anymore. It's like it is funny though. There's a reason that those movies are classics and everyone still likes them to this day in multiple generations. I love John Cleese. John Cleese is one of my favorite comedians like ever. Period. Ever. And he was shit on over the last like 10 years for just being like offensive, and a lot of his jokes were offensive from back in the day. I'm like, get over it. Like seriously. Which is why I went to. He came here for like a tour where he was talking about his book and stuff, and like it was kind of like a philosophy talk, but with humor, and it was extremely good. It was so funny. Dude is still fucking hilarious. So cool to actually be able to see him like in person. Wish I got to meet him. That'd be even cooler. No, that's what I mean. When you're watching stuff like that, you just gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta take it from that time period. I mean, you don't necessarily have to. If you're able to just handle humor in whatever time period, like if you still find those jokes funny nowadays, then fine. That's, but like, well, that's like I love the original Star Trek series, but it is so friggin' um offensive to women to a certain degree that like like I don't think a lot of people will be able to handle it anymore. Because man, Kirk be slapping all the women in that show. He'd be backhanding them constantly. But I mean, like you said, that's the kind of show like if you're gonna watch that, you got to realize that that was made in the 1960s. Not that it was right to do that back then either, but society back then was accepting of those things. You know what I mean? So you gotta just take it with a grain of salt. Know your role. Yeah. Oh my. As much like bad things that come out of that show nowadays that don't hold up like that, it did a lot of good things. For media. You know, having multiple races on a TV show together, all working together. That was like unheard of. You know what I mean? I mean, they had an Asian person, they had a black person, they had white people, they had people from different countries that weren't necessarily accepted with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure Star Trek, the original series, had like the first TV interracial kiss. I could be wrong about that, but I'm fairly sure that that was like a history thing. You know what I mean? So as many bad things that don't look so good nowadays, that don't hold up nowadays to society standards, there are a lot of things that push society forward to a degree. And that's the kind of way you got to look at those movies, those shows. It's like Monty Python. People get offended by a lot of the jokes in Monty Python because some of them are at the expense of women. But I mean, some of the female comedians that were part of Monty Python are just as funny as the dudes, and they're great in that. And I feel like no, they don't get mentioned enough. Once again, a show of its time. Especially if you've ever watched the Monty Python like TV show. That like there's so many good jokes on that show. Especially political jokes are like some of the best ones. I should send you one sometime, like probably like my favorite one. I think it's still on Netflix. I think the show is still on Netflix. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, they don't realize the damage they're doing to stuff like that, especially comedy. I think comedy should be a thing where not anything, but um it's the best place to push boundaries of what you can and can't say because it's a lot easier to say something offensive um and make it more appropriate through humor than it is through anything else. Maybe music a second. Okay, we're doing 5 more casts and then we're on. 5, 4, 3, 2, come on, book. It's not gonna be. 1. another pufferfish. So if I don't have enough pufferfish and sticks, I don't even want the fish really because I have so much of it. Anyways, let's get the hell out of here. It's looking really good though. It's definitely coming together a lot more every time I work on it. I just didn't want to do the villager thing because I wasn't feeling that great and just wanted to do something, kind of mindless. Just to get my mind off of... I figured I'd be talking the whole stream anyway. Just to get my mind off of the whole vaccine side effects. Yeah, exactly. Like, I could have just watched YouTube, but I was like, nah. Get here, talk at you for a couple hours, and I'll feel a little bit better. With you. Fucking rotten flesh. Like, I don't want this rotten flesh. Get out of here. Nobody likes you. You're completely, well, not completely. You're almost useless. Oh, shit. I'm gonna bring those lily pads over before I get off, too. I didn't even plan on staying on here for this long. I was only gonna go till, like, 3, but... I'm feeling a little better than I was an hour ago, you know? My muscles are still aching like crazy, though. Holy crap. Like, I'm not going out of my way to fill this in. I'm just, taking my time. Get some lily pads. We'll finish it eventually. It's not like it's a build that's urgent right now anyway. Man, this is looking so good. Like, look at this. Holy crap. I never thought that I'd get this far with this. It's looking better than the last one by, like, a lot. Honestly. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's skedaddle. Actually, before I go. Let's do some bone meal. Can I bone meal this? Oh, I can. That'll definitely change this a little bit. There we go. Doesn't it? I'm actually pumped. Like, you can barely tell, like, if you started right here and, like, looked around, I don't think you'd even be able to tell that it's the end. Like, which I think is sick. Which was the entire point. I don't want it to look like the end as soon as you go through the portal. I almost want it to look like you're going somewhere completely different. I'm still going to leave Endstone around so you can tell, like, if you explore more, but, like, like, you can tell immediately if you look. Like, if you look this way, you can't really tell. But as soon as you go around this way, you can. The minecart's really nice. Shitty thing is you can't really see the dragon from here. You can kind of see it, though. Can you see it if you got the effect? Oh, yeah, you can see it a lot better. The skeleton really looks cool, too. It's supposed to be like a dragon skeleton. Like there was a lot more of those serpents or something, and that's the only one left. I'm gonna put a few more around, too. I need some way to discern different colors of them, though, and I can't just put colored blocks, because obviously their skin wouldn't be there if they were decomposed. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the old house, because I gotta put this shit away before I get off. Even this area still looks amazing. Still gotta do that giant Sega logo. Maybe that'll be the next creative thing we do. So many books. We're rich! Oops. Whoopsie! Dyes over here. This is for ores and stuff. Name tags go in my end chest. We're gonna keep the shears on us just because we do use them a little bit more often, and we're going to anyways because I want to get more of those like glow vines to put in the end too. That there. I'm just gonna throw this in here for now. Actually, I'll just keep it on my character because I'm probably just gonna do something with that later anyway. There we go. Okay, back to the house. I like the paintings. Let's get the heck out of here. Everything looks so nice. My glowberries look nice. Okay. Thanks for watching. Much appreciate. Yet again. Got a lot done again. Ugh. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Peace.